Dodge! Whore! Hello? Hi?
Welcome to Hunt Valley, Maryland.
Hi, Matt.
And the
How are you doing? Love you, Matt.
Online Studios. You just saw a cinematic teaser for the Elder
What?
Scrolls Online's next
Wait,
chapter.
can we have the whole thing, please,
Pleased
Matt?
to reveal ESO Necrom,
Yeah!
which will launch in June, and is shaping up to be one of the best updates to the game.
Hermaeus
ever.
Mora
If you
confirmed!
watched the teaser closely, you saw that Necrom will include one of the most requested features
Dark Elves,
in
Dark
ESO,
Elves.
a new playable class called the Arcanist.
It's gonna be so much
It's
Dark
only
Elf stuff.
our
Okay.
third new class since launch, and we know you're gonna love it. The Arcanist wields magic influenced
Gonna
by
use the
forbidden
books.
knowledge and has unique abilities
The black books.
never before seen in this world. Of course, the experience of exploring a new area of Tamriel is the heart of every ESO chapter. Necrom will unfold in Eastern Morrowind,
Telvanni.
not seen in an Elder Scrolls game
Telvanni
since
Peninsula.
1994.
Necrom.
You
Yes!
will meet new characters and enemies, reunite with some old friends, and explore a story based around the return of a well-known Daedric Prince
yes.
you just might remember from the Dragonborn.
He is so cool. His lore is so cool. We're gonna go through his lore after this, but damn, I'm so excited.
Called a chapter every year.
As soon as I saw green and I saw the shadowy vibes, I knew. Does that mean we're going to Apocrypha? And like, there are books that you can open in Nern that then transport you to their realm. They're an amazing team. Like the ESO team are really, really talented. And they really care about the community. They really do. They started doing some dev streams and stuff, especially in the last year, and I feel like we all know the devs by name and there's that nice interaction. Elder Scrolls Online Necroms, NOX Online Studios, June 5th for PC. Okay, time to clear out June in my calendar. I'm so ready to hear more about this. They're really like making this so hype. And we need that. We need that. High Isle was amazing, but I don't think it was everybody's cup of tea. And it definitely wasn't as flashy as some of the previous chapters have been in terms of drawing back old players from other Elder Scrolls games. So I'm really hoping this is what we need this year. Moogle, come give moral support. Mog. I need moral support. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hermaeus Mora. Their cinematics always so good.
Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online
Hi, Pete.
2023 Global Reveal. Once again, it's my great pleasure to introduce the Elder Scrolls Online's creative director and my friend, Rich Lambert.
Hey, best boy, go Rich.
So great to be back.
Slay, Rich, slay.
All the new fun things the team's been
Look at this
working so
HD
hard on.
quality.
I can't wait to
HD
share
Rich.
with you.
Is he wearing
Time to
shorts?
talk Necrom. Are you excited?
I'm thrilled.
wearing
for this
trousers.
year. We're going to be exploring a new story and theme
So fancy.
centered around the Dark Elves and Hermaeus Mora. The best way to describe this story is Shadow Over Morrowind. But before I go into any more detail, we've got a great way to introduce you to the mood and feel of this arc.
He's wearing pants, I know. The pants prophecy has been fulfilled.
I can't wait for you all to see it.
Well, they don't have to wait any longer. This is the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom.
Oh, it went black for a second. I panicked. I was like, is it broken? And the Daedra and Jamora are going to be a big thing. Does this mean we're going to see some more of our Dark Elf favorites, including a fan favorite, which I'm sure chat's already talking about? Dorime. Hello. Tentacles. Lots of Lovecraftian inspired creatures and things with Hermaeus Mora. Slay! Oh my god, the animation. Okay, that Microsoft money is doing work. And she is the new class, I'm assuming. Hello, Hermie! Fucking hell, yes! The new Ouroboros is just perfect. It's exactly how I imagined it might be if it was a Hermaeus Mora one.
Down the story in Necrom.
Everything centers around Hermaeus Mora. We've explored small pieces of who this prince is in a few zones.
Knowledge. But he also dabbles in the future and the
Mora
past.
is the knower of unknown and hoards knowledge and secrets in their realm. Some of these secrets are just too dangerous for any being to know. There are hidden powers that threaten Mora's realm of Apocrypha, with the ultimate goal of uncovering one of these secrets.
Hidden
A
powers?
secret so important and so dangerous that if discovered, it can unravel all of reality.
This isn't just Tamriel that's in trouble. This is all of Nirn.
Yes, absolutely.
So where do our players fit into the mix?
Players are essentially being tested by Mora to see if they are worthy to help aid them.
We're definitely not
Over the
worthy.
course of this adventure, players will become sort of a protector of this ultimate secret that these hidden powers are searching for. And there's also an opportunity for players to seek out other knowledge if they wish, to dig into some of the origins of our new playable class in the Arcanist.
Cool new playable class. I am so in.
Because there are the black books that you can read and they like give you powers. At least there's a reference from the older games.
Scrolls 3 or even from the 2017 chapter of ESO.
And some of them act as portals to his realm.
A little bit of both?
Yes, sir. We're going to be exploring the eastern portion of Morrowind, specifically the Telvanni Peninsula. It's still home to the Dunmer or the Dark Elves, so you're going to see that familiar alien landscape with the giant mushrooms and all the life. But it's got a very different feel than any of the locations that we've previously explored.
And I'm guessing the city we saw, that was Necrom, yes?
Yep.
And
So it's not going to feel exactly the same as Morrowind. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. But yeah, Necrom is the main city in the chapter. And there's so much amazing lore around this. It's a city of the dead, where Dunmer families from all over Morrowind bury their deceased in these elaborate ceremonies. But there's also some really just wild rumors as to the origins of Necrom. It's a crazy old city, but I'll leave that up to CJ to kind of dig into in just a little bit.
I can already tell that people are going to be like, oh, do I need to own the Necro expansion to play Necromancer?
I'm pretty familiar with, and some of our players will be too, and that's Apocrypha.
Yes, the Oblivion Realm, home to forbidden knowledge.
Also home to the know-it-all Daedric Prince that we just saw, Hermaeus Mora.
Our little Chimera is very interested.
Other areas of Tamriel that we haven't seen in an Elder Scrolls game, but I know the folks that saw us like to build everything from scratch. So when it comes to the Prince's realm, it's not just like a carbon copy of what we've seen before, right?
The Apocrypha that you know and love from Skyrim it's definitely there. The dark inky waters, the towering stacks of books, you know, those unique yellow-green skies. But like always, we love being able to explore new areas, love putting our own spin on things, and we want to make this
ESO's in another time period as well, so they do get that freedom.
It's so exciting. Sounds like a great blend of the old and the new when it comes to like the biomes and the places the players are going to be exploring in Necrom. And in fact, let's explore more of Necrom right now with more details from the team.
For the regions in Morrowind and Apocrypha that have been explored in previous Elder Scrolls games, we approached them carefully, making sure on one side it felt like a trip down memory lane, but also providing new experiences for everyone. Our destination this time was the Telvanni Peninsula, an area we visited in the very first Elder Scrolls game, Arena. We also caught a glimpse of its coastline in Test 3 Morrowind. This is the first time any game has returned to these lands in almost 30 years, and we were really excited to bring them back. The giant mushrooms and distinctive fungus-covered Telvanni towers are back, of course. The East Asian influences at work in some of the architecture and general aesthetics also return.
They have pointed roofs and things.
Landscape so crucial to representing the lands around.
I'm a sucker for a giant mushroom.
For many players, Morrowind was their first introduction to an open-world RPG, and this concept was reflected in the expansive environments of Test 3. ESO has always honored this basic idea, the idea of a world ripe for wandering, and our depiction of the Telvanni coast will reflect this. The sense of odd scale you may feel walking through it are paramount. In terms of differences, we've crafted a modern view of the city of Necrom, not seen since 1994. Getting to work on something elvish which predates the Tribunal is particularly interesting.
It is an interesting time period for them. I'm trying to think of what else is happening in this time period.
And lay to rest their honored departed. Lord Vivek, known as the warrior poet, spun some wild stories about the city's foundations, which may or may not be true. But what's definitely true is that the Dark Elves have a particular reverence for the city and its solemn purpose in their culture. It's naturally a cool thing to be able to contribute in any significant way to a long-standing piece of Elder Scrolls lore. For the Telvanni coast, we had a lot of fun playing with the legend of Necrom's
listening for new soundtrack as well.
Specifically, the lore of Vivek himself having defeated the great beast Gulgamorgil, whose bones supposedly lay the foundations for the city. Entering Necrom for the first time, you're bound to notice the towering rib-like rock formations which envelop the city.
Okay. I'm just thinking back to Fargrave
symbols on the faces
as
of the
well.
rocks themselves in recognition of their supposed origins. Is the legend true or simply apocryphal?
Who knows?
Come tour the lands and make your own decision on that one. Necrom is intended to be monumental, reverent, and yet fit in with the shapes and forms we're used to seeing in Dark Elf architecture. The distinct arched doorways and decorative elements are there, as well as the detailed mosaics on the opulent interior spaces.
Dark Elf architecture
is a
beautiful.
lot of inspiration from the classic Telvanni buildings in Morrowind. And finally, we have Apocrypha. Whenever we venture back into territories from previous Elder Scrolls games, we always try to make sure that our players feel like
this
they're
is the
genuinely
realm
returning to lands they've traveled before.
of our
We
tentacled
took our
friend.
initial visual cues from the Skyrim Dragonborn DLC. Then we expanded on the ideas presented in the original. We'll be sharing more details on the unexplored areas of Apocrypha later this year. For the meantime, let's talk about the parts that players are a little more familiar with. Some lands in Tamriel appear quite normal to our mortal eyes, and some, like the Telvanni coast, feel foreign. And then there are the Oblivion Plains, whose lands bend our mortal perceptions into the most alien landscape possible.
Are we gonna get to go to more of
In
them?
crafting the Plane of Apocrypha, it was important to remember that Hermaeus Mora doesn't really adhere to traditional ideas of good or evil as many other Daedric
No,
princes
he's
do.
morally questionable.
Likewise, Hermaeus Mora's realm isn't a representation of good or evil either. Our take here was to explore the idea of ancient
He has
records
helped the mortal
and how
races
they
at
might
some
be
points as well.
represented physically in a plane such as this. We created fossilized impressions into the rock walls and emerging from the ground, representing the cataloging of all life, experience, and knowledge. Realms of Oblivion are extensions of their master, and so Apocrypha is a clearinghouse for knowledge.
Because
It's
knowledge
a
can be used for good
repository.
or for
It is
evil.
intended to feel
It's
like a
just
place where
neutral.
ancient things and ancient ideas can be preserved, perhaps even hidden, but never lost. There's a ton of story emitting from these locations.
Although he has
from
been
the
known to
environment
betray
the
mortals
architecture.
occasionally.
Of course, the characters and creatures breathe even more life into our world.
When we chose the setting for Necrom, we knew we had to deliver a story that lives up to this location, and the team had a lot of fun bringing this story to life. If you're not super familiar with any of the fantasy names that we've been talking about, imagine a holy necropolis in the middle of an ancient hierarchical society presided over by extremely powerful mages. Yeah, there's a lot of fun.
I was going to
tension
say I loved her hair, but then chat will bully me
Necrom
again
remains
about
neutral
having
territory
a
in
thing
regards
for
to the
purple
great
hair.
houses of Morrowind.
I just
Keeping
want
the city of
purple
the
hair,
dead
okay?
neutral means all Dark Elves can appease their ancestors and ensure their bodies are taken care of, even as the Three Banners War rages on. This is incredibly important since the tradition of bringing the dead to Necrom predates the Tribunal and the creation of Dark Elves as we know them. It's an integral part of the Dark Elves' cultural identity. In other words, this is an ancient city of the dead, which isn't controlled by any one dark elf house, even though it's surrounded by the Telvanni Magisters, some of the most egotistical and powerful mages in the entirety of Tamriel.
Yep.
But the peninsula isn't the only place you'll get to explore. As a writer and certified library nerd, I'm so excited that this year we get to take you to Apocrypha for the first time since the Dragonborn DLC.
There's gonna be so many good lore books. Can you imagine?
A powerful mage who works with Hermaeus Mora, the Prince of Forbidden Knowledge. Notice I said with and not for. Laramel doesn't worship Hermaeus Mora. They have a working relationship that's built on mutual respect.
Hasn't Laramel written some lore books
before?
before?
As Hermaeus Mora can have for a mortal. See,
I think I remember seeing his name in lore
survive
books.
in Apocrypha for a long time. Knowledge is enticing, but you'd be a fool to assume that it's harmless. And the sheer amount of information there tends to melt mortal minds, mangle their bones, contort their flesh, and turn them into terrifying creatures called the Hush.
Nice.
Some books are lifeless collections of paper, totally safe to pick up. But others house tome shells, small Daedra who live between the pages of Apocrypha's first editions. They may not necessarily attack you, but if you've ever picked up a shell on the beach only to discover that there was a hermit crab already living in it, then you know just how surprising a tome shell can be.
Don't kill
Tome
it.
shells and hushed aren't the only denizens in Apocrypha.
Oh, that
No,
is so gonna
Apocrypha's
be a
guardians
companion
lurk
pet.
around every corner. Seekers attend to the vast library, while lurkers wait beneath the inky waters to dissuade any stubborn researchers from discovering Apocrypha's more dangerous secrets.
Oh, the water's like
It's
ink.
best to be sure that you're really alone before
a
you
cool
pick up some
touch.
light reading. You'll even meet a clanless Dromora called Torvasard, who refuses to let the secrets of Apocrypha remain undisturbed.
Hello.
Torvasard's motives are as mysterious and complex as his
He's like a
allegiances.
mini Daddy Dagon.
It's
Hello.
really hard to tell if he's
Is,
friend or foe.
is that a 12-pack? Damn.
This chapter isn't all about exploring crypts and making friends with Eldritch Horrors.
Hello, Daedric Daddy.
There's a dark threat coming for both Apocrypha and Nirn. Vampire mercenaries known as the Dusksabers prowl the Telvanni Peninsula.
Does this mean we're gonna see Fen again? Because
Shalreni seeks to climb the ranks of her house by any means necessary, even working with anyone who will give her the power to achieve her goals. Not everything will be hidden and mysterious, though. If you've played ESO before, there are a bunch of familiar faces for you to find throughout this chapter. I won't spoil all of the surprises, but we are bringing back my favorite Morag Tong assassin, Asher. Okay, yes, Naryu will make an appearance too.
I was gonna say, excuse me.
Secrecy and forbidden knowledge, it'll be
Why is
up to you to discover
Naryu?
the truth and stop enemies
Of course
across
you will.
Eastern Morrowind and Apocrypha. Good luck.
Hey everyone, we're excited to let you all know
Hey.
that the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom
It's
is
Jess and
available for
Gina,
pre-purchase
everyone's
right now.
favorite duo.
While the chapter will launch on PC, Mac, and consoles this June, we've got plenty of reasons for you to pre-purchase and jump into ESO today.
If you're a new player, someone who hasn't played ESO in a while, or you still need to pick up some of our previous chapters, you'll want to go with the Necrom Collection. Either version,
Okay, but the tentacle
standard or
necklace.
deluxe collection grants you instant access
Nice,
to 6
nice,
of our
nice
previous
choice, Jess.
chapters
Nice choice.
and the base game. And you'll of course be able to
I need more
access
things
the
with
Necrom
tentacles on
chapter
now.
once it launches in June.
That's hundreds of hours of content all in one package. We like to refer to it as 8 games in 1, since each is like its own standalone Elder Scrolls adventure. And keep in mind,
Okay.
you can play these in any order too.
For current players, we're offering both standard and deluxe upgrades, which will provide you with the latest Necrom chapter.
No matter what version you pre-purchase, you'll receive these items. While some will be unlocked at launch,
mushroom flesh
everyone will
horse.
receive this unique mount immediately.
For a limited time, if you pre-purchase Necrom, you'll also receive this matching pet to go along with the mount that Jess just mentioned.
Coming with the deluxe edition is this new Apocrypha theme.
Can we have a statue? I don't think they're doing physical stuff for the collectors anymore.
In addition to other pre-purchase
Oh, look at that.
items that come with the deluxe upgrade.
The teeth in
and
the
collection.
neck. Okay, he's cool.
Separate from our pre-purchase offering, but just as cool, is the Hermaeus Mora collector's statue that's available for pre-order at the Bethesda Gear Store.
Take my money!
Yours, along with some
Take my
awesome
money!
ESO merch, because right now, for a limited time, we have a flash sale running.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Any edition of Necrom also unlocks the new Arcanist class at launch, and we know you've been eagerly awaiting more
no.
information on that, so let's check it out now.
Yes, more about the class, because I'm curious. If it works how I think it's going to, it's going to be so cool.
Arcanist time. Spill some details.
Where do you want to start? You know, this is easily been the #1 most requested feature from players since the Necromancer back in
They won't stop
2019.
asking.
I mean, why don't we give the players a little bit of the backstory and inspiration behind the Arcanist?
The Arcanist is a new way to play and experience ESO. It's the 7th playable class and channels the power of Apocrypha to create ancient runes of power. This weird knowledge lets them do some truly fantastic things, destroying their enemies with runic magic, summoning tentacles from the abyss, healing their allies, and some even protecting themselves from the worst the Daedric planes have to offer.
Cool. So you get like
What
armor
everyone really
warding.
wants to know is, how do you play the Arcanist? And we've got just the person to tell us.
Dun, dun, dun.
With the Arcanist, we wanted to keep
Oh my gosh, that is the best beard I've ever seen. He is a Nord worthy of that beard.
Letting us be more creative with the abilities themselves. We started off with 3 skill lines: Herald of the Tome, Apocryphal Soldier, and Curative Rune Forms. Each line focuses on a different aspect of the game: offense, defense, and support.
Makes sense.
The challenge we embraced was making these abilities feel unique compared to previous classes, but not so systematically different that veteran
Kind
players
of have a
could feel out of
Nightblade
place.
feel to them, like mixed with a
Several of the
sorcerer.
abilities will leave you awestruck. 2 of
At least
my
from what
favorite
I'm
new
seeing so
abilities
far.
are Apocryphal Gate and Abyssal Impact. Apocryphal Gate lets you open a pair of temporary portals that you can jump between
Ooh.
for extra in-fight mobility,
Oh.
or use these
Okay.
portals for creative exploration.
Hello.
Abyssal Impact
Elder
is a
Scrolls
bit
Online
more
Mesmer?
direct. It has you infuse your arm with unstable magic.
I like how chat had exactly the same thought as me. Feels very Mesmer.
Forward, damaging and debilitating your foes. I'm also
Tentacles.
super excited to share that we're doing something very different for the Arcanist, implementing a combo point system. In this system, certain abilities will build points, while others will spend them,
Okay.
giving them an extra bit of oomph by enhancing
And then
their
like a
target
finisher?
ability.
Okay.
We're aiming for this to be something that all players can easily get a handle on, so no one should worry that this class will be too technical to play. I can't let too much out of the bag yet, though, so the rest will have to be a secret for now.
Come on,
When
spill the
initially coming
beans.
up with the Arcanist, we had a ton of ideas and inspiration coming from all sorts of places: movies, comics, classic literature, and both retro and modern games. There was even a handful of anime references. And while we had a lot of great ideas, there was one that led us to a major breakthrough and helped bind everything together: the Black Books of Hermaeus Mora.
Yes.
Now, while this gave us a solid feel for how the abilities should look and sound, you won't necessarily be wielding one of the Black Books. Instead, you'll summon your own tome, in which you've inscribed numerous bits of ancient knowledge.
I was
that you
talking about the
gleaned
Black
from
Books
this
earlier, and I was like, I really hope
like
they're
your own
involved
cooking,
somehow.
you glance at every so often to spice up your spells. This won't be the only taste of the Arcanist you'll get, though. You'll also come across foes and maybe a friend who will wield the same deep magic that you'll learn. There may even be some unforeseen enemies that have tomes worth of forbidden arcane power to throw at you. This is just the first page of the story of this new class. We've had a ton of fun making it, and we've got plenty more to show you as time goes on. I can't wait for you all to experience adventuring Tamriel and the realms beyond, alongside or as an Arcanist.
Okay, Rich, now let's talk about
Juicy.
some new features and systems. Start with, any chance there's going to be some new companions?
Yes, in fact,
Ooh!
we've got 2 new
Argonian
companions
and
coming
Regard.
to ESO with this Necrom chapter. And for those that don't know
Yes,
who
it is time for
or what
Argonian.
companions are, they're your permanent adventuring
Yes,
buddies.
boys.
Someone that's at your beck and call whenever you want to help you explore Tamriel. And the feedback from players since the inception back in 2021 has been overwhelmingly positive. And we've been looking to expand and evolve it in new ways.
So tell us about the 2 new companions we're going to see.
The first companion is called Sharp as Night, and he is
Sharp
an
as
Argonian warden
Night.
who is a bit of a mercenary and an enigma.
Laid
He
up the
originated
bum.
from Blackmarsh, but his past is lost to him, and he spent a lot of time trying to figure out who he is to no avail.
He looks
is
so
a lot
moist.
more
Look how
reserved
thick
than
that
other
tail is.
companions, as he's lived a tough life, and he really isn't overly chatty, and you're going to have to prove yourself to him.
Cool. Okay.
And then there is Xander.
Bit of a darker character.
Xander is a Redguard male and a little bit of a crazy fatherly figure professor. Think Willy Wonka meets Dumbledore.
Hell yeah.
And he's got this really singular focus on the pursuit of knowledge.
Is he going to be
What's so
British?
special about Xander, Rich?
I have a feeling he might
Some of you
be.
might have guessed, with Xander being so focused on this pursuit of knowledge, he's an Arcanist himself, so you'll be able to dig into a bit on that side of his story as well.
Some amazing stuff, and that's not all we've got cooking. Like every chapter, we offer loads of side quests, a new trial, there's world events, public dungeons, delves, and more. Roughly how much content do you think we're talking here, Rich?
Players can expect around 30 hours of content just from the main storyline, in addition to all the side
New
content
trial as
and
well?
everything you just mentioned.
Always
Wonder what
so
the new
much to
events
do in
are.
an Elder Scrolls chapter, and the team has really pulled out all the stops with Necrom.
We really have, and players won't have to wait too long to begin their Shadow Over Morrowind adventure. Players will be able to begin their adventures this March with our first DLC.
Awesome. I will definitely be checking that out. Before we wrap things up, let's talk about some changes that you're planning to the ESO calendar.
Absolutely. So ESO is a living, breathing world that is constantly evolving. As a team, we're always evaluating where we are, what the game needs, and the community sentiment around how well we're doing. And over the years, we have made many changes based on these evaluations. But one of the fundamental pillars that hasn't changed has always been to create as much story content as we possibly can to try to keep up with our players and their insatiable desire for new stories and adventures.
Sorry.
And this constant drive is one of the reasons why ESO has become one of the best games on the market today. There's so much to do, so many stories and locations to experience, tons of systems and various activities to participate in solo or with friends.
So what's changing?
We want to continue on creating these new adventures while also addressing quality of life feedback and bugs that have emerged over time. In other words, we want to focus on polish and iterate more on cool ideas, be it stories or systems, with the overall goal of making each release as solid as it can be. The first half of the year isn't really going to change much. We've been hard at work on a lot of this stuff for a very long time. We're still doing a dungeon DLC with 2 new dungeons and a prologue quest to kick off this new arc. The chapter is releasing in June with all the goodies you love and expect. Where things are changing this year are fall and winter.
That's great news for players. Don't stop. Keep going.
Late summer, our focus is going to be on bugs and quality of life additions. Things like pre-made group finder or an all-in-one attunable set crafting station as examples. There won't be any dungeons in this update because for update 40, which comes towards the end of the year, the team is working on something really epic, something pretty special that they just need more time on.
I mean, come on, Rich, we got to give them more than that.
Come on, Rich.
Okay, fine. How does an endless dungeon with a buddy sound?
Oh, sounds good.
We'll have a lot more info on this later in this year.
Like a 2-player?
I'm insanely excited about this.
Sounds very cool. Well, Rich, I want to thank you for all the details.
Cal had all-in-one set stations and is like,
I know I'm excited to play.
this is our guildie who has every single
just as excited.
crafting station in the house.
Before I go, I wanted to personally thank the entire team for all of their incredible work. It's truly an honor to be able to represent them here today.
Go Team ESO!
Also, on behalf of the entire ZOS team around the globe, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support. You've helped make ESO and its amazing community what it is today.
All right, let's throw it back to Jess and Gina to fill everyone in on in-game events, talk guilds, and more.
Okay, this is very slick.
So it's obviously no secret that there's always something to do in ESO. In addition to all this content, we offer a wide variety of in-game events catering to all different play styles, from PvP to Overland, seasonal festivities, and more. In addition to our quarterly content updates, this year we'll be having 11 in-game events, plus the themed monthly PvP Battleground weekends. In fact, our first in-game event for the year, the Season of the Dragon celebration, starts in just a couple days.
And who better to enjoy all these events with than friends? ESO is great solo, but even better with friends, or a whole guild of friends.
Friendship!
Whether you're into PvP, 12-player trials, crafting, questing, or even fishing and house decorating.
Oh, come and join us,
there's a
Twitch
guild
streamers!
for everyone and every play style. You can find your first or next guild via the in-game guild finder. If you're a current player and have a guild who is looking to welcome new adventurers, let us know about it on Twitter. Tag us at TessOnline.
And speaking of coming together, we're extremely excited to let everyone know that we'll be hosting an in-person event this spring to celebrate all things ESO and the Shadow Over Morrowind adventure. We'll share details on our website and social channels very soon.
Huh?
In
Where?
the meantime, if you
Where?
want to learn
Europe,
more
please.
about the
Europe,
first
please.
DLC
Please,
in the
Europe.
Shadow Over Morrowind adventure, we'll be previewing the DLC and Update 37 live on Twitch this Friday. So be sure and tune in.
Wonder what they're
That
up
was a
to.
packed show. Lots of change.
It probably will
lots
be
of
in
new.
America, yeah.
Quick reminder that ESO Necrom is available for
They
pre-purchase
might do a smaller
right
Europe
now.
thing, though.
Visit ElderScrollsOnline.com or
Go buy it
your
now.
favorite online retailer and claim your
We
mount
only just
and
found out it
today.
exists, but you can buy it now!
ESO Necrom launches this June. And believe it or not, we're just getting started. Stay tuned in the months leading up to launch for even more info. Thanks for spending your time with us. We'll see you in Tamriel.
My brain is just catching up with all of that. I did suspect we would have some Hermaeus Mora stuff. I didn't know quite how they were going to do it. I did suspect that region as well, and I'm so glad they went for it. And yeah, I think this is what we needed right now. I genuinely think ESO needed a boost like this with some recognizable stuff from older games, because that always brings new players in. As much as I liked High Isle and it was cool because it was a completely new location, I think they sort of need something that references back to the older Elder Scrolls games and Skyrim in order to bring some new people in as well. So yeah, and I mean, Tentacles, always excited about Tentacles. Something with a bit of a darker theme again. We did have everything with Mehrunes Dagon a few years ago, but we're going back to a dark theme. All of High Isle, there was some darkness going on. There was some cultiness, but it was very pretty, and it had this lovely environment, and things were quite cheery when there wasn't death and suffering going on. But going back to a quite kind of, I guess not full-on gothic setting, at least Mehrunes Dagon was more lava and fire, but we're going to get more of a Cthulhu-y, Lovecraftian-inspired setting with at least Hermaeus Mora's realm. And then more Dark Elf stuff, which we haven't had much from the Dark Elves for a long time. I think the Arcanist sounds really interesting. I don't quite know how it's going to play yet. I did think the black books would come into it if we were doing anything of that nature, but it doesn't seem like you like collect the black books and then, I don't know, like learn different spells and slot things in. It's not going to be quite that system, which I thought maybe they'd go for something like that. But first system with a combo, which is new for ESO, and it's going to start playing something else now. But it's new for ESO, and it very much feels like we needed a class like that. It seems like it's going to be quite fast-paced. A mix of things, because you got a bit of magic, but then you're also quite zippy. Like there's a lot of teleportation, moving around. Emphasis on being really fast and like moving out of AoE and casting stuff and running away kind of thing. So I will be interested to see more about how that plays, because we actually don't know much yet, but I'm so glad they're bringing in the influence from the black books and everything. And I'm now trying to think what this threat is that perhaps we are being helped on by Hermaeus Mora, because Hermaeus Mora is not really a bad character, more of like they're in a grey zone. They're in a grey zone. Knowledge can be used for good or it can be used for evil, and sometimes it's up to us what we do with it. Sometimes Mori interferes a little bit in the mortal realm, and sometimes Mori helps us. So I did get a letter from Elder Scrolls Online, which I'll go and grab in a bit so we can read it together, but it's been all over social media as well. And it basically just says like, hero, there is great danger coming, and the colliding of two worlds, blah blah blah, something timey-wimey, and the future is uncertain. And then it mentions like the turning of a page or something. So to me that was feeling very Hermaeus Mora. And if you actually used a special light, a UV light on it, it would reveal the symbol of Hermaeus Mora, the eye, the golden eye, I think it's called. So yeah, he's just greedy. He's greedy. He wants all the knowledge in the world, and sometimes he tempts mortals with the promise of knowledge, and then things don't end so well for them. I'm so excited about the possibility of an entire realm just filled with books in Elder Scrolls Online. If anyone's new around here, I make lore stuff. So I read lore books from Elder Scrolls Online. One of my favorite things about the game is that they have so many in-game lore books that have been written for that game about the people, the cultures, various Daedric princes, food, drink, festivals. There's all sorts of books, and you can actually go around the world and find them. It's one of my favorite things. So I started a channel over on YouTube called Lore Whisper, which I have not updated for the longest time, and I'm a terrible person, but if you do !lore in chat, that will link that channel. And I really enjoyed doing some stuff, especially the Sheogorath stuff. I always love, because they're crazy stories. Any kind of legend or fable involving a Daedric prince is always a bit wacky and a bit out there. So I'm hoping we hear some more Hermaeus Mora ones, because he's got some interesting stuff. He's a fun character, and the realm is going to be very cool indeed. And yes, when I think Hermaeus Mora, I always think Kajaji from Roads Less Traveled. So I played in an ESO D&D campaign called Roads Less Traveled. Season 1 ran for 2 years, and it was originally a one-shot, and then everybody liked it so much that we continued it. So I played Karoendareni, who was a high elf, obviously. We had K-Pow as Kajaji, and she was a little elfique. And I'm not going to spoil too much in case anybody wants to watch it, but Hermaeus Mora does come into that campaign in quite a big way later on. So that will always remind me of Kajaji. And petition to put Kajaji somewhere. Just put her somewhere. Stick her in a library. Just stick her somewhere. New companions look pretty damn cool. I don't know why we didn't get a dark elf companion again. I guess people were hoping we might get a Daedra companion or a Dramora, and I was kind of in that camp. I was hoping Daedra or Dramora companion, but they look very cool indeed. They look very cool indeed. I was hoping for a little Argonian as well, a little moist Argonian, so I'm glad we have him now as well. Yes. I've forgotten their name already, but Sneaky McGee or whatever they were called, something about shadows. I must go back and rewatch it and take some notes as well. And then we have a Redguard, who seems like he's going to be quite a comical character, which I think we need. We have a lot of serious companions. I'm just waving my hair color at you. But we have a lot of very serious companions. I think we need some silliness as well. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, tentacles. Tentacles, that's just going to be my brain for the next hour or so. Tentacles. Tentacles. I can imagine quite a few people who are very excited about this. I did think when they were talking about Daedric Realms, they were like, oh yes, traveling into Daedric Realms. I thought they were going to drop that we would be traveling to like other ones as well. Like they suddenly dropped Sheogorath, but let's be real here. If they're ever going to do an expansion that has Sheogorath and the Shivering Isles, Sheogorath, Shivering Isles, and a Bard class. Perfect combo. Perfect combo.